answer. Now listen to me. In Luke chapter 4, the Bible told us that Jesus was driven of the Spirit into the wilderness to go and fast and pray for 40 days. The ability to fast and pray for 40 days was because that the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. And the Bible says to us in verse 12 that Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit, and he began to manifest miracles. He began to manifest miracles. And Jesus answering said unto him, it is said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Please go on. And when the devil had ended on the temptation, he departed from him for a season. Go on now, verse 14. And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all region round about. Jesus understood that God's Spirit is God's answer, and God's answer is God's Spirit. Please, can you say it after me and say it louder? Say, God's Spirit is God's answer, and God's answer is God's Spirit. In other words, what we are saying is that the way God will always answer every prayer, every request in your life, is through the release of the Spirit. In the Old Testament, they knew anytime they wanted an answer to come forth, any dimension of the Spirit that can be seen is a signal that the answer has come. When they offer their sacrifices and fire comes on it, they know that God has answered. They are not looking for any other evidence, because they know that God's Spirit is God's answer, and God's answer is always God's Spirit. In Luke chapter 12 verse 49, Luke chapter 12 verse 49, Jesus was to have an encounter with the disciples. He wanted to put something on them. Luke chapter 12 verse 49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled? Fire will come upon the earth. And he says, what will I, if it is already kindled? In other words, the fire is not there. The fire was not a possibility before. And Jesus began to tell them, there is a fire I'm bringing. I came with the baptism of the Spirit and of fire. These are dimensions of the Spirit. In Luke chapter 24 verse 49, you will see something Jesus said that is connected to this verse we just read. Jesus, but they constrained him, saying, abide with us